It's working.
Hi. Let me get all the other BBLU.
Okay, that is working.
Close.
All right.
Okay, we're going there. And boom. Boom. Okay. All the preliminaries are already out of the way. Shall we just go?
So shall we unpreliminate?
Unpreliminate. That is
Yeah,
uh that is an
unpreliminate.
interesting word.
I mean, I, you know,
Okay. Here goes the doohickey.
the doohickey with a theme.
Welcome to Curmudgeon's Corner for Saturday, July 19th, 2025. It's just about 2 UTC as we're starting to record. I am Sam Minter, and Yvonne Bowe is here again today. Hello, Yvonne. Are you feeling
Hi.
better? You were sick last week.
I felt horrible last week. I had a combination of a cold with some gastro issues,
Oh, that's always fun.
which happened to just coincide. It was horrible. I literally spent in bed. I am a guy. I don't. I'll I'll take breaks. I usually sometimes if I'm tired during the day.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm working like working from home especially. But I remember that I always wound up sometimes feeling somewhat tired in the afternoon. I remember in the office. I mean, when I went to the office, I was like, oh man, that I remember that 2:30 to 4 o'clock time.
Mm.
I was like, oh man.
See, now
And
I
I
have.
remember that my energy would reignite at 5.
See, now the way I go, like my body clock, like I have had that mid afternoon lull sometimes, but my usual experience on my normal days are to be dragging all morning long and actually get that, like, I'm actually ready to go and my body is into things like around 1 or 2 p.m.
No,
And then I'm ready to
early.
go.
I'll drag early. And then I've got a good burst like after 9:30, 10. Okay, I'm good.
Oh
All
yeah, see,
right.
I'm
And
still
then
dragging
but
10,
but I'm,
11.
look, before 9:30, I'm just, come on, man. Give me a fucking break.
Oh, before
Which is when I
9:30,
worked
I'm
at
practically
HP.
a zombie.
Listen, when I
Like,
worked at HP, I had, that I had to go to the office. HP was very flexible. I mean, I would get to the office every day around 9:30 to 10.
okay, yep.
That was fine. That was not a problem. And I usually the thing is because they were flexible. And I, like I said, I got a burst of energy at 5. So I'm not
Mm.
heading home at 5. Shit, that's like my peak productivity time. What hit like at 5. So no, I would be, banging away and
Well,
shit until
see, here's
7:30
here's
because
my
that's like when, all of a
here's my
sudden maybe
problem.
my
Like,
day would drag and blah blah blah, and
yeah,
then
yeah.
all of a sudden everything would gel. I'm like, shit, this shit, it's all coming out now. Boom. You know?
My look, my peak productivity, if I had no other constraints, would be like, yeah, I would start to really hit my stride around 3 or 4 o'clock, and from there until midnight is like my prime hours. Okay. Now
Listen,
here's the thing though.
if I were able to be on a sleep schedule that didn't
Yeah.
make me have to fucking wake up as early as I have to now, I would be in sync with what you're talking about. Okay?
Well, see,
The
here's the
fucking
thing for
problem is
yeah,
that
yeah.
kids, obligations,
Well,
bullshit
this is what I
make
was
it that
gonna
I gotta
say.
be up at fucking 6:45. So my burst now at that hour is not. I mean,
Yeah, this is exactly what I was getting at. Like, you know, I don't hit those peak hours for work because, yeah, I have home obligations. And you
Yeah,
mentioned like you'd keep working past 5. If I was working from home, I probably would keep working from home,
but
from
you have
home
to
longer.
commute.
But I've got like this hour and a half commute home, and like if I leave work at 5, I'm already talking about getting home 6:30 to 7, like potentially,
Yeah, sure.
because it's usually not a full hour and a half to get home, and it's a little bit better like on Fridays, but like that's the actual drive. Like from the moment I close my laptop, I've still got like 15-20 minutes to like, get all my stuff together, go to the garage, get in my car, get going. And I'm not even counting that stuff. And and I've usually you know, this like, I don't know. The point is, if I
The
leave at
point
5,
is, and well,
realistically, I'm not available to my family till like 7.
well, yeah.
So
But my point is of this bringing this up was
yes,
because
yes.
I was mentioning about how okay, I stayed in bed all Friday.
Oh, because you were sick. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm not, but I'm usually one that's up doing shit from morning till late, and
Hmm.
I felt so bad that for I don't know the first time in quite a long time I was in bed all day.
Right.
I was not, and I slept a lot of the day, which is the other thing. I might be sometimes not feeling well in bed. I was sleeping all day.
Hmm.
Okay, because that's not normal. So that's how I was feeling last week, which is why I was like, shit. I'm like, no, I can't do this. I'm just I'm so tired and 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 not feeling well.
Well, I mean, look, the bottom
And then
line.
all of a sudden, I started going to the bathroom nonstop at 3 in the morning,
Oh, good. Nice, nice.
which
Thank you for
it's just a
sharing.
perfect time, for that to hit. Well, all of a sudden, I'm like, oh man, come on, really
Well,
now?
look,
Three in
here's
the
the thing.
three
I
in the
mean, you're
fucking
talking about
morning.
like feeling bad that you're not working when you're sick. I mean, that's like our culture is so broken with that. It should just be like,
Well,
oh,
wait,
I'm
wait, whoa,
sick,
whoa,
I'm
whoa,
done.
whoa, 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 wait, wait, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's not go crazy here. I felt bad about being sick. I didn't feel bad about not working.
Oh,
Okay,
okay, okay.
fuck that shit. No, 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 no. Who the fuck are you talking about? No, no, no. It felt bad that I felt sick. You know. I mean, they're not working. I'm like, listen. I felt like shit. There were forecast calls. I called my boss. I said, dude, I'm sick. I'm out. You know.
Right.
See ya. I'm like, I'm not. No, no, no. I mean, one thing about my current job in which I am working more than and not taking as much vacation as I normally do, but let's be fair here. I take still quite a lot of vacation against the average uh, American.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I haven't taken more just because my role is a sales job. And the reality is that when I take time off because I get paid commissions, I
You
it's
lose money.
I lose money. Okay? All right? I lose money. And to
Right.
me, I'm like, you know what? I feel like in this almost like when I had my own business, where I'm like, look, if I'm not there minding the store every day, then money isn't coming in the till.
Right.
Okay? I gotta keep, so it's not even anybody demanding that I stay at work. It's me like saying, oh fuck this. No, I can't. I can't go 2 weeks. What am I crazy? I got all these deals. I gotta do this. I gotta make this. No, fuck this shit. I can't lose this money. But contrary to others who
Yvonne,
get yeah.
Yvonne. All you have to do is send them a letter. I don't know why you're making this so
You know
complicated.
what? Listen, it was a conversation today that I had with. Listen, I had a very important presentation with a customer today, and I presented the proposal, and it was a big amount of money. It was about 7 figures. Okay, we're not talking. We're not talking. 20. It was a big deal. Okay, 7 figures for the first year. Okay, so this go on for years. Okay, and I go and he said about talking to the CEO about the money, and I said, look, listen, The last thing I expected, I presented this amount, and you just saying, "Hey, good. Oh, it's fine. Yeah." I'm like, I'm like, if I'm asking people for that kind of money, I don't. Is somebody just saying yes? That's like weird, and that's like the Donald Trump negotiating tactic, which is like, "Hey, I'll just send you a letter. See, hey, deal." I'm like, what the fuck? The hell kind of? It's not a deal. It's not deals. What the hell are we doing? But anyway, I was sick. I even though no Sam, I was not feeling bad about not working. Okay, I was perfectly happy not working. I'm still. I calculated last year to talk about the fact that we have unlimited vacation at our company. I know that in the last 12 months, I've probably taken at least 40 vacation days. Okay? Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I've taken about 40 vacation days. So, I that's why I hear people complaining, "Oh my God, I want them. Oh, it's a scam, the limited vacation." And I'm like, listen, shut up. All of you, shut the fuck up. This is a scam only because you guys are all too scared of taking it. And at every company I have been, it's the same story. I have everybody around me always saying, "Oh, I can't take vacation. It's going to kill me." I'm like, you know what? I never, ever suffered from taking all of my vacation. Ever. Never a problem.
Okay.
I always say that's more fear than anything. But one thing I did, I left everything organized. I made sure that everything was taken care of. I made sure that my boss didn't get called for a fire of any sort. And if anything was pending, just to make sure, it somehow was going to be taken care of. Okay? So that's the way. But a lot of people, the thing that they do is, "Oh, yeah, I get yelled at taking vacation. You left the place on fire." And you go, right? And so you don't tell anybody it's on fire. So all of a sudden, the fire hits your boss, and they're calling, "What the fuck is going on?" Well, shit, you left the place on fire, you idiot. What do you expect is going to happen?
Yes, that does make a difference.
So, yeah,
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better.
I am feeling better. Thank God. And, no. I worked.
Oh, yeah, I should mention our agenda. If you guys couldn't tell, we're doing the butt first right now. Yvonne just had a nice little story. I think, I'm going to ask him if he has anything else for the butt first in a second. And then I'm going to do, this time it's 2 movies.
2? Woo!
Well, I'm trying to do 2 every time because otherwise I'll never catch up.
Yeah, otherwise we'll never catch up. Yeah, so. Right. Well, the other thing I wanted to mention is something that I didn't mention last week is that I did again recently. I went and I decided instead of buying a new device, to get some repairs done on my devices. Okay.
Okay. You're talking mobile devices here.
I'm talking, well, in this case, because I've done before iPads, other stuff, or whatever. Right? Yeah. So I mean, actually, I talked. Look, last year, I think it was a year and a half ago, where I had the battery replaced on my work MacBook Pro. Okay, right. Also as well. But I decided that I don't think I want to get a new iPhone 17 Pro right now, and I asked my son if he wanted a new phone.
So meanwhile, no. my battery is crap right now, but I have an iPhone 12 still, and my plan absolutely is to order the 17 as soon as it comes out. So I am not.
I have a 15 Pro Max, and
mine is a 12 Pro Max. I did go to the Apple Store because I had the thing where it wasn't charging properly.
Yeah, well, get lint in there. Yeah.
So
they have the tools.
Like a tool that's better than anything.
That's better than anything that you could do at home, and they go over there and there you go.
Yeah, because I've tried to fix that at home.
I've tried it too at home. Never works. They
Yeah,
go over there and it's like
a
magic,
couple
whatever the hell
seconds,
they do.
it was beautiful again.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but
They
nevertheless,
have
my battery sucks at this point. Like it will not last even through the workday. I have like, one of those little battery packs I attach it to get through the second half of the day. And but I know the new ones are coming out in like 2 months. About 2 months. Yeah, July, August, September. Yeah, so I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna make this one last a couple months, and then I'll order the new one. And I'll
well,
be
the thing is that I'm like, look, I've got my son has the SE. His battery life was in the crapper. His battery, the thing said 60% or something. It was bad. Okay, and so I was gonna get him a new phone, but
Yeah.
he said no. I'm like,
Okay.
okay, and his phone, him being like that, was in
So
really
you
good
got the
shape.
battery upgraded.
So I went and I'm like, you know what? I was able to just get him a new battery. And so my phone, it wasn't just the battery. I somehow, the front of the screen, had scratched it really bad.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah. So you got your screen
I
fixed.
had a very deep scratch that was like right down the middle. Okay?
Yep.
Which is really irritating. Okay? Um, and I was like, my phone was still under Apple Care. Plus, my son's, I wasn't because his phone is older. But look, I got and I had like right when it was new, I had cracked the rear bottom corner of the back of the screen.
Right.
It was a tiny crack, and it happened when new, so it would have been like almost 2 years ago. But I was like, look, if I'm gonna take it, my battery was not down as bad as yours, but it was down enough that it was noticeable. Okay? And it was down to around 85%. They told me at Apple that they would do it under Apple Care if it was under 80%. So I was not at the threshold.
Check where mine is actually right now.
Yeah. So they went and $99 plus $30, $89 plus $30 got me the glass all
Mine's
replaced.
at 78%.
It's not that bad.
It's not.
But
that bad,
here's what I will say here. Yeah, that's what that says. Let me tell you something. It's not really 78% because I noticed quickly when I got the battery back that 15% in real world usage was a hell of a lot more than 15%. Okay? It was like probably like I'd say closer to 40%. Okay? So I'm not sure why, but it really that 50% made a hell of a lot more of a difference than 40%. Because I noticed that I kept going every day. At my battery usage kept reading about 110% before I got the battery. And then, like right now, for example, and right now, I haven't charged it all day. I still got 22% left.
Right.
Yeah, so that's like, and I'm talking like, that would be like, it would be dead by now. So, yeah, so I got it done.
So you
I've
have
always said
Apple Store experience.
Yeah, I mean, usually always here, the store is it's close by. It's very easy to get stuff
I'll
done.
tell you,
Like,
I had an Apple Store experience this week too. My what? You're laughing.
Well, you say you said it in a way that sounded ominous. I had an experience. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you my experience.
No. They are always good to me. The Apple Store is.
They're always good to me. I never have any problems
and of course,
with these people.
I have all the Apple Cares and all that kind of stuff. So, like, no, this was my AirPod Maxes. Like, just gave up the ghost. They'd been having a harder and harder time pairing over the last few months. They've actually had a problem for a while, but I was always able to it's supposed to automatically connect and reconnect and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
It was routinely getting disconnected, and the only way to get it back was to sort of reset and repair and blah blah blah. And it was annoying, and it got worse and worse. And then eventually, like sometime last week, it just stopped working entirely. So I was still under Apple Care. My Apple Care on those things was good till January. I took it in. The guy like examined them and was like, "Yeah, there's something really wrong with these. They're not even like, you unplug them and the light instantly goes out and it's not responding and blah blah blah." So he took it from me. I just got a they had to like ship it to somewhere to be looked at, but whatever. I just got a notification that they finished fixing them and it's on the way back FedEx to me. And so I'll have it. I think they originally estimated I'd have it by Saturday, but I think I saw that the estimate was now Monday. But whatever. Did without them for a little while, but all taken care of. Like went in there for a few minutes. They looked at it, all good.
Look, this is the one thing where anybody tried to convince me to buy something else, and I remember what it was to get anything electronic repaired, or what it is to get anything repaired outside of like my auto dealership experience or my Apple experience. How shit is. And let me tell you, it's like getting my damn Samsung refrigerator fixed. I had technicians coming out 6 times. It's a mess. They never get it right. I had the same thing with washer or dryer. I had the GE guy go and like, whoa, we'll charge you $300 to change this part, but it might not work, and we're not going to give you your money back. Shit like literally shit like that. Where I'm like, promised repairs that don't repair anything, and oh, by the way, we charge you the money. It didn't do anything. Fuck you. I'm sorry. Okay. No, I like this experience. Or I remember, shit, the horrible time that I had getting a Sony TV repaired that I got. Okay. Like years ago. Mm-hmm. That was like horrible. It was horrible. They literally destroyed the TV trying to fix it. And then my TV was discontinued and they had to wind up, well, we have either a bigger model, which didn't fit in my furniture. And I'm like, yes, we can give you the bigger model, but that one doesn't fit. I don't have room for that one. Well, we can give you the same size, but it's a much crappier one. And I'm like, my TV fixed. I just wanted my TV fixed. I didn't want you guys to break it.
Yes.
So this kind of shit, when I go to Apple, never happens. I go in, they fix it, they give it back to me, it works. And I don't... Here's the one thing. And look, me coming from HP, where we did a lot of end-user repairs. And man, our end-user experience at HP for devices was horrible. It was horrible. It was horrible, okay?
Right.
I had people calling me, pleading, crying on the phone, begging for help to get their devices fixed. And then they would send in devices and they would get sent back saying repaired, and they didn't touch anything or fix anything. And that happened often.
Right.
So, yeah. So, to me, I put a lot of value in this experience, which is, yep, we'll do this. Yep, we'll get it back to you. Yep. Well, we'll just swap it out. Fine. Well, we have a or if they think, it's too hard. No, refurb. Fuck it. There you go. Have a refurb. Get out of here. Beat it. They don't fuck around with a customer,
right?
And I the one thing is that also why I'm keeping this phone and not buying one. I had to do something where I was going through all the Apple devices and purchases that I have made. Holy shit! I've bought a lot of Apple shit.
Oh yeah.
I was looking through this list all of a sudden. I'm like, holy mother of God, what the fuck? I realized that I went through the amount of money I also spent the last couple of years on a number of devices, and I realized that it was.
Don't look at that. Don't add it up. No.
I did, and it was. Oh God, it was obscene, and I'm just like, oh God, Jesus Christ, no, I'm not buying anything else. I'm like, wait,
I
I'm
thought
not
you
fucking. I'm
were
like,
going to say that given all that, you were inspired to immediately go into the Apple store and buy an Apple Vision.
yeah, of course, yeah. No,
Yeah.
no, I'm not. I'm
Yeah,
not buying it.
you need
I'm like,
that
no, I'm like, no, I'm like shit.
Vision Pro. Yeah.
And praise my son, okay, to be the frugal one who I offered, hey, you want a new phone? And he was like, nah,
And he's
I'm good.
no.
Nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I like this phone. It's just fixed. I'm like, okay, good. So there you go.
Yeah, no. Anyway, fun stuff. Right, ready for my movies?
Movies. Let's go to the movies.
Let's go to the movies. Okay, number
Siskel
one.
and Ebert at the movies.
First of all, I will say, like our listener Pete
Yeah.
encouraged us all to see Superman.
Okay, but I couldn't see fucking Superman
But Yvonne
because my
couldn't see
son and my wife went,
Without
well, yes, because I was
and
in
so-
bed and I was out, and they were like, well, we'll go to the movies.
and I had told Pete said he would come on the show to talk about Superman with us, and I said I would talk out of order about Superman if Yvonne saw it, but then Yvonne hasn't seen it, so
Here's what I'm going to suggest. I think that you guys need to record something separately without me on Superman. I do want to see it. I definitely want to see it.
That.
Yeah, I definitely want to see it. But I'm not sure when I'm going to be able to get to it right now. The next few weeks.
Yeah.
But I'm planning to see it. Okay, I just got to figure it out.
Okay, we got it. Like, but
I have an assignment there to try to try.
You have an assignment, and see,
I have an assignment
to in the theaters a while. It's doing really well.
Yeah. So exactly. So I gotta make it to the theater. I gotta go. I gotta fulfill my assignment. I may have to go like one of these days. Like I'll go like early in the afternoon and just go watch it.
I won't say anything about the new Superman movie other than thumbs up. Definite thumbs up. Okay.
There you go.
But the movies I'm actually talking about today are still ones we're in last October. This first one I watched October 16th, 2024. Moonrise Kingdom from 2012.
Okay.
Have you heard of it, Ivan?
The name does not ring a bell.
So I will start off by saying this is a Wes Anderson film. And I have reviewed other Wes Anderson films on the show before, and I don't believe any of them have done better than a thumbs sideways, and some of them have probably even been a thumbs down.
I don't even know who the fuck Wes Anderson is.
So he's a director, but the thing is, his films have a very distinct style to them, and they're very stylized. Okay. And all of the other ones, I'm looking at his filmography and seeing which ones I've watched. I think I've watched the Royal Tenenbaums.
I've heard of that one.
I think I've watched the Grand Budapest Hotel. I
have watched the Grand Budapest Hotel. Okay.
And there are a couple others here that I think I've
seen. Rushmore. Okay. All right.
I have never seen Rushmore.
Really?
I think, never. Even though people tell me I look like the main character, or I used to when I was younger, or something like that. I don't know if it's true or not, but I've heard.
I believe I saw a picture of him, and they're right.
Okay. And I think I've seen parts of Fantastic Mr. Fox and Isle of Dogs, but I don't think I've seen the whole movie. It's sort of been like somebody else has been watching it, and I've walked through the room. But anyway, I haven't. My general take is I don't like his style. I don't like his movies. He's kind of crappy. So
he's kind of crappy. He's won 5 Academy Awards.
Like, people love these things,
5
but
BAFTAs,
I don't. Okay.
2 Golden Globes. He's had 16 Academy Award nominations, 20 BAFTA nominations, and 11 Golden Globes. So you're telling me he's crappy? I would say not your style.
Not for me.
Not for you. Okay.
But I was surprised because I really enjoyed Moonrise Kingdom.
Oh!
Like, I haven't liked any of the other of his movies I've seen, but I had fun with this movie. I thought it was cool. It was sweet. It was sort of touching. It was also stylized, but in a slightly less annoying way. At least I thought so. I'll give you the first couple paragraphs of the plot, and I won't go beyond that for spoilers. Um, on the New England island of New Penzance, 12-year-old orphan Sam Shakuski attends Camp Ivanhoe, a khaki scout summer camp
Ah, my
led
camp.
by led by Scoutmaster Randy Ward. Susie Bishop, also 12, lives on the island with her parents Walt and Laura, both lawyers, and her three younger brothers in a house called Summer's End. Sam and Susie, both introverted, intelligent, and mature for their age, meet in the summer of 1964 during a church performance of Noyes Floodle and become pen pals. The relationship becomes romantic over the course of their correspondence, and they make a secret plan to reunite and run away together. In September 1965, they execute their plan. Sam escapes from Camp Ivanhoe while Susie runs away from Summer's End. The pair rendezvous, hike, camp, and fish in the wilderness with the goal of reaching a specific location. So maybe I like it just because the main character's name is Sam and he's a geeky 12-year-old. I don't know. Maybe that's why I like it.
Hey, that's not a bad reason.
And he ended up having this relationship with a geeky 12-year-old girl. And maybe I was just like, oh, that would have been cool if it had happened to me. It didn't, but whatever. But no, I enjoyed it. Like I said, it was quirky, but in a way that was less annoying to me than some of these others. It's sort of sweet and pulled at the emotional heartstrings at the right moments, and I just liked it, just cast wise, it had Bruce Willis in it, Bill Murray, Edward Norton, Frances McDormand, Tilda Swinton, Jason Schwartzman, who I believe is the guy from Rushmore, Bob Balaban. So I don't know who Bob is. I recognize most of those other names. But, and I guess the kids were Jared Gilman and Kara Hayward. No idea if they've, what else they've been in. I could look it up, but I'm not going to. Anyway, thumbs up. And that's probably all I have to say about Moonrise Kingdom. I enjoyed it.
Okay. All right. So that's movie number 1.
Movie number 2.
Yeah.
Is from the Star Wars universe. It is one of the ones that I believe is officially no longer canon. From 1985, made for television, the second of the 2 Ewok movies. This is Ewoks: The Battle for Endor.
Oh, this doesn't sound good. This sounds really bad. This gives me Christmas special vibes.
Yes, and so it is a direct sequel to the first Ewok movie.
I mean, there shouldn't have been a first one in the first place.
So, just to say a couple words about the first Ewok movie. It had a family that were stranded when their star cruiser is wrecked, and they have a few adventures. And at the end, the family decides to stay with the Ewoks until they can repair their star cruiser. And that was the first movie. The second movie, let me read you the first paragraph of this one. Nearly 6 months have passed since the events of the first film. The Tawani family's star cruiser is almost completely fixed, and Jeremit is putting the final touches on the craft. While the family is preparing to leave the forest moon of Endor, the Ewok village is attacked by a marauder group led by Tarak and his witch-like sorceress Sharal. Many Ewoks are captured, while Jeremit, Katarine, and Mace are killed, helping to defend the Ewok village. Jeez. Basically, the entire family from the first movie, except for one surviving child, gets killed.
Wiped out.
It gets wiped out and killed in the first few minutes.
Sounds really nice.
The Marauders steal a power cell from the Tawani star cruiser, believing it to have some sort of magic power over the stars. And so this movie is about the one surviving child from that family, plus one Ewok, Wicket, the Ewok, and their adventures to get away from the Marauders and eventually, do whatever. And so I won't give spoilers, but let's just say your
Yeah.
intuition is correct. um, it apparently, like I'm looking at the Wikipedia page, um, and was surprised.
Positive.
Well, it did get like Emmy nominations.
Okay, but for what?
Well, one of them was for special effects.
Okay, yeah, all
Okay,
right.
now having said that, watching this 1985 movie from a 2025 perspective, the special effects were very 1985 at
Okay.
television movie special effects.
Yeah, which are not good.
Not even Star Wars special effects.
Right, which are not good.
Yeah, I mean, like, this was after Return of the Jedi and all that. Return of the Jedi had good effects even back then.
Sure, but that was like a very expensive theatrical
nowadays,
production
of course,
versus
you
a
see,
made-for-TV
George
film.
Lucas's reconstructed blah blah blah. But even the originals were good. So it got an Emmy for special effects, and it got 2 nominations for outstanding children's program and outstanding sound mixing.
So let me get this straight. The 2 nominations really are for the sound, for the special effects.
Sound, special effects,
and somehow it entertained kids.
Yes.
Yeah, because you have great sound in the special effects, which that actually entertains kids.
I guess so.
Yeah. Right. Makes sense.
Anyway, it was dumb. It was really dumb. The first Ewok we're not talking, holiday special dumb. Nothing can even approach that.
Right. No.
Nothing in the universe can approach how dumb that was. But they were both dumb. And your reaction of like, did this really need to be made? Is I think the right thing. Now, of course, this is like post Return of the Jedi. Lucas cashing in some more. So I guess in that sense, it needed to be done. George wanted some more money, but
George has. I'll tell you one thing.
Attack of the? I said post Return of the Jedi, right? I didn't.
Right, post Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's one thing.
So wait, let me say this is the last of the television / movies from after Return of the Jedi before the Phantom Menace, and I have now watched all of them. Caravan of Courage and Ewok Adventure, also the Droids cartoon series and the Ewoks cartoon series, and now the second Ewok movie. All 4 of these things are regrettable.
Here's the thing, right? You said, George Lucas, needing to make a buck, right? And the one thing is, I heard George Lucas somehow talk recently, say in the last decade, okay?
Yeah.
Especially after he sold to this, since he sold, talking about somehow about it sounded like about the evil of money and blood, whatever, right? And I'm like, whatever, after he got paid billions, okay, right, to sell this, right? And I see him doing that movie, which is just a fucking money grab.
Yeah.
I'm like, look, don't give me that shit. Just don't give me that shit. Because you over and over did money grabs, just for money grabs. So don't go now and tell me, oh, the evil of the money or whatever. When it's come on. What were episodes 1, 2, and 3?
Hey, seriously. People were clamoring. Where's the rest? Where the rest? You said there would be 9 movies. Where the rest? He had to do it, right?
Yeah. He didn't have to. I will say that at the end they turned out good. Okay, I say that overall it turned out well. There's I think I think if you poll people on average, I think it turned out well.
Well,
It's
this
not.
is
It's
one
not.
of
It's
the
not hated. I mean, this is they weren't
well,
hated.
like here's the thing on them. Like a lot of the people who saw the original trilogy in the theaters as children
Right.
were not liking the prequel trilogy and gave it a lot of hate, especially episode 1. But
But
yeah,
I'm talking about overall
no,
the
I know. But
overall
what I'm saying,
audience.
no,
No.
but what I'm saying is that those people who wanted, who grew up with Star Wars and wanted new Star Wars for them as adults, tended to be disappointed with the prequels. But, and I've heard interviews with like the cast members of the prequels about this, where they talk about how they felt bad because of all the negative reaction they got when the movies first came out. But now, 20 plus years later, they get people coming up to them telling them how important those movies were to them when they were kids.
We're kids.
Because one of the things that George Lucas did that specifically annoyed people, and this was a little bit less in episode 3, it got less and less as you went through 1, 2, and 3, but he specifically set out and said, I am not making these movies for the people who were kids for episodes
in 1970s.
In the late 1970s, early 1980s,
Right.
for the first 3 movies. I'm making this for the people who are kids now. And that disappointed a lot of people. But, it is what it is.
But like I said, look, they had, overall they had a good reception. I mean, think about this. Bitching about Star Wars Episode 1. You know how much that fucking movie grossed, what the box office was? $1.1 billion, Sam!
Yes. Yeah.
It's not a failure by any stretch.
I remember lining up and seeing it with my whole family. I don't remember if we did it on opening day, but we certainly did it within the first week. And, being
listen,
a major
and
event.
I will say this. I do think it was a money grab, but at the same time, I watched all 3, and I grew up watching those. I liked them. Other than, look, we should have,
well, you
Jar Jar
grew
Binks
up watching the prequel series. That's like
no, that I grew up, with the originals.
Oh, and you still like,
and I still like the new ones. Is what I'm saying. Okay, I'm not that. I am not that, like, how do I say? I don't get like bogged down with, oh my God, it wasn't like whatever. For example, like I think you and I have talked about this, and I think we disagree on this. I liked the new Star Trek movies with, J.J. Abrams. I liked them very much.
Yeah, my sense on those was, I was not, I didn't hate them, but I was sufficiently unimpressed that I never bothered watching the last one.
You see, I'm different. I actually liked them very much. As a matter of fact, I will say that they were much better than the last few of the next generation motion picture ones.
Okay.
Much better. Okay.
I will eventually get to all of these too. I'm working my way through as you see, I'm working my way slowly through the Star Wars. I'm also slowly working my way through the Star Trek, and I will, eventually.
As much as I love the next generation cast, the movies were meh. They weren't great. They were okay.
Anyway,
but I'm like one that I found and look, they didn't do well in the box office either. The last one, there was a large hiatus. Getting to the J.J. Abrams ones because the last one of that group did poorly.
Right. So anyway, I'm gonna say thumbs down for Ewoks: The Battle of for Endor.
All right.
The only reason to watch this is if you are being a completist and trying to watch all Star Wars ever made. That is the only reason.
Otherwise, let's just say fuck the Ewoks. That's it.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Good.
And so let's take a break, and then we can start talking about news. there's stuff going on.
Oh, fuck.
Like, now I will say, I this came up in the random rotation last time, but I saved it for this week, Yvonne, because this is a new break. It is actually something that was recorded years ago at this time. My son had me do this, and he's actually got remixes of it, but this is just the raw audio. And it's very, very short. It is the shortest break we have. It's like less than 30 seconds, but I saved it so that we could get your reaction.
All right, break it.
Okay. Okay, here.
You can tell your son that I'm alive.
I wanna be on top of the tree. I wanna be on the floor when I fall off the tree.
And that's it. Did you enjoy that, Yvonne? For those of you who can't see him, he's
all I'm gonna say that is in post production, you got to turn down the volume a little bit on that for people.
Oh, it'll everything gets leveled, so don't worry. Did I blow out your ears? I apologize if
it was loud. Especially the tick tocking, you know.
Tick tock. Yes.
Okay. All right. So what the fuck? Well, yes, you want to be under the tree. All right. So what the fuck are we gonna talk about first?
Okay. Well,
you know what?
Yes.
I'm gonna give a news update on something that isn't on the list, which I forgot to put in.
Oh. Okay. Yes.
I'm gonna write it down right now. Just so okay, keep track.
Okay.
Well, the last Friday, as I was lying down sick, the India Air Investigations Bureau released their preliminary findings on the crash of 787 in India. Okay, and one thing is that leading up to that, a number of people had been very concerned whether they were going to even release the report publicly. Okay? The reason is that the day before, a very reputable source had indicated that there was evidence gathered that showed that the reason why the plane crashed is because somebody flipped off the fuel right after takeoff. There's 2 fuel switches and they got shut off. And so that
from
was
all sorts of videos and stuff I've seen, it is hard to move these switches. It is designed so it can't be done accidentally.
Correct. The switches are made so you just can't bump them and you turn them off. You actually have to literally physically pull on the switch to lift it and then move it and then put it back down. So you have to exert an outward force to pull it out of the thing, okay, in order for it to unlock. India has had a history of covering up accidents and the causes, okay? Especially when it comes to pilot error or something like this. Or a suicide, okay? A long time ago, an Air India jet was intentionally crashed by the cockpit crew, okay? Over the Atlantic. And the Indian government decided to dispute that finding. Even though the evidence was very clear that the plane was intentionally crashed, they disputed that, and they said they actually sent out a different finding. This was a crash that happened 1985, Okay, it was an Air
Okay.
India 747. Okay, no. I got the wrong one. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You should be ashamed.
I'm sorry. No. Yeah, God. Where? Hang on. Oh God. I had it here and I let it. Well, I don't have it here, but right now. But it was. It happened a long time ago, and they've disputed they disputed the findings. Okay, it's happened like before. Um, you cover it up. You don't want to show that the pilots are, or that they're pilots. They'd rather blame the foreign aircraft for a crash. So we're concerned whether that was going to be released. By the way, the preliminary report that they also released was actually very thin. I mean, they didn't actually even say because they did say in the report, they did confirm that it was the fuel switches that got turned off. Okay,
Right.
but they didn't say who said it. And by the way that the microphones and everything is in there in 30 days, you could figure out who said it. Okay, based on the location of the microphones. It did come out later that it was the person that asked, "Hey, did you turn off the fuel?" Was the co-pilot, okay, who had the least amount of experience, but he was he was piloting command. He was the one that was flying. The captain was the one that was monitoring at the time, and so he asked them, "Hey, did you shut off the fuel?" And he's like, "No." And then a few seconds later, they restarted the fuel. But at that critical moment in flight, there's just no way to survive that. You can't just when you do that intentionally.
Right.
So somebody intentionally crashed this plane. For what reason? Who knows? They haven't given any further details on the crew on board or anything. But yeah. I mean, this was an intentional crash. Unfortunately, there's no doubt about that at this point.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned sort of the critical part of the flight, but bottom line, if the person in control of the plane wants to crash it or kill it, it's hard to stop that. Now, you do potentially have two people up there. In certain other parts of the flight, maybe you could subdue the guy trying to do something bad. But bottom line, if the person in control wants something bad to happen, they can make something bad.
Oh gosh, yes, absolutely. And the thing is, like I said, in a critical part of flight, which is the problem. Okay, there was a recent incident by a Horizon Airlines crew member. That was a they were a pilot, but they were off duty. That was in the jump seat in a commuter plane somewhere in your area.
Yeah, I remember this.
And this guy apparently had gotten high on psychedelics and other things.
Yep.
He had something that happened to him. And in the middle of flight, he tried to shut down the engines. In the middle of flight. Now, the reality is that where they were in flight, it was something that was recoverable. Okay? The other two crew members were there. He was subdued. They took care of him. And they were able to recover from the incident. But, a cruise, yeah, it's something that you could do something about, but unfortunately, you got time to do something. Okay, but I mean, damn it, when you are at that critical moment on takeoff, I mean, you cut off the fuel. There's just not enough. There's just not enough time to do anything. Just not enough time. Not enough time. So, by the way, I'm confusing an Egyptair crash with an Air India crash.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
That was one that was a suicide over the Atlantic. So my apologies that I confused it. But in the past, there had been a reputation by Air India of covering up causes for pilot mistakes. Okay. So there was some talk about that, and so there was some concern whether whether they actually would be as open about what happened. And so, but they look. They issued a report. And we got the information. And so, thankfully, we know what happened. I guess. Listen, I'll tell you the place where everybody sighed a big relief was at Boeing.
Because it wasn't a mechanical failure.
Yeah, because with all the bad news they've had, the last thing they needed is a fucking 787 having some kind of serious issue right now. But no. But thankfully, they were like, oh god. They sighed relief, and they were like, oh gosh, it's not it's not our fault, thank God. But this is a terrible crash. I mean, it's just shit. I mean, they have a shot. Nobody had. I mean, the guy that survived. It's still the most stunning thing. One guy. He just walked out.
For a little while, people were being like, "That has to be a fraud, right?" He wasn't.
No,
really, but no, he did. He walked away.
He walked away. Crazy. But this one guy just walked away.
Right.
So anyway, I just want to give the update that we at least know what happened. We don't know why. But look, I mean, we had, one of the aircraft crashes has also been suspected to a pilot intentionally crashing a plane is the Malaysia 777 that disappeared.
Right. And still hasn't been found decades later.
Yeah. I mean, we found pieces of it.
Yes.
But that's it. But it became pretty clear through the investigation that this was intentionally done by the captain, if I remember correctly, on that flight.
Right.
So, there have been safeguards and things. As a matter of fact, there was a recent incident that happened where a Lufthansa flight, one of the crew members went to the bathroom,
and then they locked him out. Right.
Well, they didn't lock. Well, they didn't lock him out. The other pilot suffered some.
Oh, right.
He had a seizure. This was the last month or so.
Okay.
He had a
this
seizure.
Is a different one than I was thinking.
Yeah. You're thinking about German wings, which that was no. This is like in the last month, because there was this crash. It was the German wings, which is a Lufthansa subsidiary, where the co-pilot went and intentionally slammed the plane on the ground. Okay, while the guy was on a restroom break. Okay, and there was a debate in Europe about what the correct procedure should be when to not leave just one person in the cockpit. There's been a lot of arguments. They wound up basically defaulting. Now it's fine. We they went back to just having one person in the cockpit at this point. But they had debated whether at least like a flight attendant or somebody should be in there with a person, just so you don't leave them alone. Okay. So this guy went to the bathroom. The other guy had a seizure. And all of a sudden he was like, the plane was actually, while he was having the seizure, he started involuntarily pressing on the rudder pedal. It wasn't disabling the autopilot, but the plane was steering, was going off course. Okay. The other guy's trying to get in. Apparently, if the person now is say incapacitated, okay, the lockout, because there is a lockout that the crew could reject that person, but if it's by incapacitation, after they put in the code, if that person doesn't reject it, the door will open. Okay, because because they'll assume, hey, if he's not replying, it's because he's incapacitated. The door will pop open. But before that, apparently the guy started recovering from whatever seizure he had enough that he could open the door, and so the other crew member was able to come in and land the plane, do an emergency landing, and so forth. But it went back now that obviously the airlines are debating as to what the hell do we do in the in this instance, and not leaving a single crew member alone. But even in the Air India case, it wasn't a matter. They were both right there. And one of them, for some fucking reason, decided to just crash the plane right on takeoff. And we don't know.
So the answer to all these questions, Yvonne, is obviously full automation. No humans in the cockpit at all.
So we'll put XAI Grok
Yes.
at the wheel. And that will solve the problems.
Exactly.
I'm sure that, he'll be fine.
Hey, it's an easier problem than self-driving in many ways.
It is an easier problem. Listen, the flying by itself is definitely
You already
an
have
easier...
situations where an autopilot can do the entire flight from beginning to end.
That is correct.
Under certain situations.
That is correct. At the correct airports, the correct places. Yes, that is correct. I will say that yes, the actually having the aircraft on full automation. I mean, and right now, in large part, they are.
Yeah.
I mean, once takeoff is complete, usually, the planes are basically set on autopilot. They have the waypoint set, and here you go, off on your way.
Yep.
So.
Okay. So that wasn't like a full segment. So I'm going to ask you to pick another topic before we take a break and do my stuff. But I will mention we do have a comment on the live stream.
Which
from
is?
Someone who is marked as a #1 fan.
Oh boy.
It's my son.
Yeah.
He says, screw GPT, demands justice.
Well, we'll send him to justice. Does that include the electric chair or something like that?
I said, of course, justice day. So
yes, we'll meet out justice. All right.
Screw GPT right. Is, of course, his custom GPT that he wants to co-host one day instead of you. Like, it's apparent he thinks it's, I guess, an improvement over the Yvonne GPT I did before. My feeling on this is, like, we did that experiment once. We can wait like at least a full year for the technology to advance further before trying that again.
That would be nice. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay. So.
So second thing. Well, because we did talk about this week hasn't been as tariff heavy as last week.
Okay.
So we'll talk about a little bit about. Okay. So we've been getting all these tariff letters, Sam.
Okay, so then, and just to put it out there, since you're doing tariffs now, when we get to my segment, we're going to talk about all the Epstein crap again, and maybe some of Donald Trump health
Who's Epstein?
Stuff.
Epstein?
I don't know, some guy.
Oh, okay, all right. Sam, I think we got all these tariff. It's all done, right?
Well, I was saying in the first segment, like you're complaining about. Like it being hard to make deals.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. All I gotta do is send a letter. Yeah. I don't know. The last week, it's just Brazil. Brazil got 50% tariffs, even though the U.S. has a trade surplus with Brazil.
Right. But there's obviously an emergency situation there that has to be dealt with.
Yes, because they're prosecuting the president that tried to basically topple the government. Look, I am not a fan of the current president of Brazil either. The current president of Brazil was actually convicted and thrown in jail for bribery.
Yes.
There's recordings where he accepted the fucking bribes. Okay.
Is this a problem, Yvonne? What you seem upset.
According to Trump, no. Here's the thing. Considering that, he is also a fellow bribe, accepting man. I figured Trump should like him. He should like Lula. I mean, what the hell?
He likes the other one better.
Yeah. So, Bolsonaro. So yeah, he decided that he's imposing 50% tariffs on Brazil. I don't know, man. I mean, he's sending tariffs to, I mean, and, with these letters that are, we complained about how ChatGPT calculated the tariffs, right?
Yes.
Because this is dumb. I think ChatGPT would have written better letters. I mean, because these letters were written by somebody who basically stopped using crayons a short time ago, as far as I can tell. I mean, they're just there's no. He talks about negotiations. There's no negotiations. There's just ultimatums. Canada 30, 20, and everything is the only thing that I could see about these announcements. It's all predicated on him basically just grabbing attention every day and trying to just steer attention away from Epstein, away from the floods, away from whatever unpopular thing that may be going on at the moment. Or just steer attention to him, because he just likes chaos, and all of them are just about.
Yeah. I want to say a couple things on that. One, while I agree that he's constantly just trying to drive the attention cycle, and one of the things that's been different over the last couple weeks is he's kind of failed. He's trying to move the attention away from Epstein, and it hasn't been working. Usually this kind of stuff works for him.
Right.
But at the same time, I think all of the people who sort of are like, that's a distraction. That's a distraction. He's just trying to keep you from thinking about like the big, beautiful bill or whatever. I think that's misguided too, because all of these things are bad.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not like, oh, ignore this one. That's a distraction. And pay attention to this one because it's the only one that matters.
I don't think more about the big, beautiful bill.
You have to figure out how to multitask and actually care about all the bad things.
I think more about the things that get him criticized in some way. Okay, but actually, the thing is, like somebody said, he loves the chaos. He wants chaos. He thinks this is good. Back
to tariffs specifically. I mean, he thinks the chaos is good because this is his leverage. This is how he influences things.
But
he's
I don't
driving the conversation.
But there is no. There is okay.
I mean, I'm not saying
what is
right.
his.
I'm saying
no. What I'm
thinks.
saying is no. What I'm saying is that no, because he thinks he's winning. What is he winning? Because that's the whole thing, right? Because what is his does he have an overarching goal, Sam? What is it?
Only on a day-to-day basis. He has no strategic plan.
Exactly. That's my
he has
point.
A goal
there
for
is
the
no
day. And
for
people,
the day.
People around him have explicitly said this is how he thinks about things. He wakes up in the morning and says, what is today's episode of the Trump show going to look like?
Yeah, exactly. That's right. And so the thing is that during this, the economy, the American economy and the global economy is riding hostage to his reality show driven presidency. That's what we got. Mm-hmm. He's railing that, I mean, today, the whole problem is he keeps railing about Powell and the Fed and rates. Problem is that with all these tariffs, there is no way to lower rates. And aside from that...
Wait, Yvonne. There is no way to lower rates without negative consequences. That's different.
No. You can lower short-term rates.
Yes.
But the thing is that the rates that he's focused on, that they try to talk about, the mortgage rate and whatnot and whatever, even if the Fed drops the funds rate to zero, the damn 10-year, which drives those rates will not budge. It hasn't budged already. With all listen, the Fed cut rates sometime last year. The 10-year rate didn't budge. Not one bit. Not one bit. And the problem is because he wakes up every day into reality presidency, which involves all these tariffs, okay? The tariffs are pissing off the two biggest buyers of the fucking 10-year, which is Japan and China. And if those guys aren't buying damn 10-year notes, the damn interest rate isn't going to go down. It's as simple. Bond rates work in a very simple way. Bond prices go up, rates go down. Simple as that. It's not the coupon. You can issue a bond. Hey, $100 bond, 10-year, 6%. Okay? But if the market doesn't think that 6%, or no, I'll change it, 2%, okay? But hey, if the market doesn't think that 2% is right, what they will do is they will go to the market and say, well, we're not buying that bond for $100. We're going to buy it for what makes us earn 5%. So the price of the bond will go down to that number. So it yields the 6%. And that's what's happening in the market. It's that simple. There is no way. The Fed can't control that. The Fed can only control short-term rates. That's it. They can drive those. And, and we've had periods of time.
Yvonne, look, you are thinking too small. He can issue an executive order tomorrow just ordering banks to use whatever mortgage rate he wants them to.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that won't cause any market problems, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, you know what? Here, okay. All right. Let's take your scenario. Banks.
I'm sure there would be immediate legal challenges, of course, blah, blah, blah.
Well, aside from that, let me
Because he
go
doesn't
into
actually have the authority to do that with an executive order.
Okay, but let's say
he could try anyway.
Let's say he tries to force the banks to do that, right? Here's the problem with that, right? Once again, those assets, a bank usually issues a loan. They turn around and they sell it. Okay, all right. What happens in the market is that they wind up saying, well, you see, we don't think that's worth that. Okay? We're not willing to pay for a 2% yield. Nobody wants a 2% yield. We want 4%. So they will have to start selling the fucking mortgages at a loss.
The Fed just issues mortgages directly. Cut out the banks entirely.
Oh, I see. Well, that's simple then.
At 0% interest.
I'm sure that's not going to cause any problems with inflation, with the rest of our bonds, with the banking system.
All I'm saying is you seem constrained by the way things have been done.
I know these damn details. Yes, I know. The details just get me. Yeah, I know. I am so small-minded. I'm not a stable genius.
So to pivoting back to tariffs for a second, we also had some inflation numbers, and people keep saying, it's coming. The effects of the tariffs
By the way,
are
the underlying data shows that they are coming. Okay, all right. The headline number didn't say that, but once you dug through the data, you were like, fuck, this is looking like a volcano ready to explode. That's what the underlying data showed.
Mm-hmm. I saw somewhere else, though, the economists' predictions of percent chance of recession have dropped over a couple months ago. Like they peaked a couple months ago, like in May or something, and are down a little bit from that. Still not zero, but
Well,
not as high
remember
as they
they
were.
peaked when I think at the tariff shock one. They've gone down somewhat, but they're still above where they
Well, because
were. Say
now everybody believes taco, and that none of these things will end up actually happening.
that's right. That's right. Everybody believes that he will eventually chicken out. I mean, but the thing is, Sam, we have tariffs already in place.
Yes.
There are all these effects going through the economy right now of this, and so it's just it just takes time, but the data is starting to show that this is going to be shitty.
Is that a technical term?
Yes,
Okay.
that's
But like,
all that highfalutin education.
but how high are we talking, like inflation wise? Are we
They
talking double
basically
digits?
said that we are going to not double digits, that we will go back to the same inflation we had in 2021, 2022, which is 6 to 8%. By the way,
Should we really be worried unless we're hitting 1970s levels?
here's the problem. In 1970s, we had all these exogenous shocks and all these things were happening, right? Difficult to manage. All these shocks have been self-inflicted. The second thing is, are we going to stop shooting ourselves in the foot? You see, here's the thing. If you told me right now, hey, all the tariffs are done, it's over, whatever, then it could be like transitory as it was, where it peaked and then it came down. People didn't like the transitory term. I think the people didn't like the transitory term were idiots because they, for some reason, thought transitory was 3 months. Okay?
Well, yeah. I mean,
And I'm like, Muhammad Al-Aryan, I'm talking about you. You're an idiot. Okay? All right?
Well,
Sorry. It
well,
didn't
just-
mean
oh,
like
well,
it didn't mean like 6 months. Okay?
Well,
and
I mean,
also
the-
there was but also there was a big war shock in the middle. Okay? Because you had the invasion, which actually
I still fault the people who use that word, because the common meaning of that word, if you don't know what everything surrounding it is, short enough that you don't have to worry about it. It'll be over before you think twice.
to me, you see, transitory meant that it wasn't a systemic
But that's
inflation
not how,
that
normal
continued.
People interpret
Well,
it.
okay,
And
but
you
the
can-
reality
and that's
is that when
why,
you, and maybe it's just
if
because
you're
when
not-
I know when
if you're
you don't.
somebody like that who's speaking not just, I mean, I know in his opinion he was speaking to specialists, but the reality was it was going out to the world, and you have to be careful about your language and use terms not in the specialist way but in the general way that people will understand.
But here's, fuck. But, well, everybody's so short term. Look, the reality is transitory versus systemic. Okay? Systemic, Argentina that's experienced inflation 25% every year for the last 25 years. That's systemic. Okay? That's systemic. And that was the whole point. What we had, is it like that? Are we going to continue with 6 to 8% inflation? Like right now, no, because we did a lot of changes. It's going to come back down. So it's going to be transitory. It's not systemic. Simple as that. I'm like, but I guess, but like everybody wants a fucking exact calendar of like when the fuck, but when is the price exactly going to go up? Is it going to be July 30th or is it going to be August 15th?
We've talked about this before. There's two things. One, I think he should have, like, if the notion was it wasn't going to be just a couple months, then I know you can't give an exact date, but you could probably say something like it's going to be high for a year or two, and people would have reacted to that differently. Or, but even then though, you still have the more fundamental problem that in terms of the general public, they don't really understand inflation as the rate of change. They want to know, when do prices go back down?
Well, Sam, but that was the problem. That was more the problem than anything else. The reality is, it wasn't even whether it's transitory or not. The reality is that people went and said, well, wonder prices are going to go back down.
Right.
And people didn't understand. No, they're not coming back down. The rate of increase is going down, but The price isn't going down. We're not having deflation, which would be bad. By the way, that's even more problematic.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Okay. Any other economic bombshells you want to drop or talk about before we take another break?
Nah, let's go.
Okay, we're going to take another break. This is another one I saved for you.
Oh God, Jesus.
Because this one's an Apple Dream.
This
is Apple Dream 50. And when we return, we will talk about Epstein and Trump, and Trump's mental health, Trump's physical health.
Didn't he say that we need to stop talking about this?
Oh, I'm sorry. In that case, let's just spend the next segment on Cuomo running for mayor again. We don't need to talk about any of that.
Cuomo. Oh yeah, Cuomo. Yeah. Well, the battery jump starter guy.
Never mind Cuomo. Anyway, here is Apple Dream 50. We'll be back after this.
Yeah, fuck Cuomo too. Jesus Christ.
This is a bad one, so I'll be short. The main part of it is we were all living, meaning my current family and my daughter, my son, my wife, at the house that my family rented when I was like a preteen, in Durham, North Carolina. And anyway, the long and short of it comes down to, I was going upstairs for something. I heard Amy yell at Alex something about watching Miley or something like that, watching Miley go out. And a few minutes later, I was coming back down, and Amy was doing something like preparing to move. Like she was moving her stuff to a moving truck or something. And anyway, Mom yells from the other room or something. I'm starting to lose details. The important part is there. But anyway, it's discovered that the front door is wide open. And Amy thought someone else closed it. And anyway, Miley had gotten out. So people start looking for Miley. And I look out the window in the front of the house, and I see right by the door near where the truck was that we were packing Amy's stuff into, but it wasn't that. It was like the truck was there in my head, but it wasn't actually there. There was a curb, and then there was a spot. Anyway, there was clearly a flat thing there that used to be Miley. And she had just been squashed, like cartoon style squashed, like, you know, when in a cartoon, a steamroller runs over somebody and they're made flat. But there were still enough details that you could see it was Miley. Anyway, I was very, very upset. I yelled at Amy, you know, and the door shouldn't have been open, and I'm like, you killed Miley. And of course, like, it was an innocent mistake. Nobody meant to kill Miley, but she had obviously gotten run over, and I was really upset. And my Amy and me and Alex and Mom were all running to where Miley was. Then I woke up. And I went straight out of bed and looked and found Miley and made sure she was okay. Miley's fine. Miley's a great dog. Miley's an old dog, but Miley's a great dog, and she's not flat. Love you, Miley. Bye.
And that's that very cheery dream that time.
Jesus.
Of course, Miley has since passed away of old age, like But
How long ago was this recorded?
God, I don't know. I don't have proper dates
All right,
on this.
never mind.
It-
Okay, just
I am
curious.
years behind on the Apple Dreams, and probably 3 or 4 years ago at this time, like this one. I don't know. It's been a while. Anyway,
Well, reminds me of you blaming others for the dog's death. My mom blamed me for one of our dogs dying.
oh wow.
But she was also like you. It was distraught. She was just. We didn't know what caused the dog to die. He didn't get run over or something. The dog developed some kind of. He got sick and died. My mom started speculating that I had left the door to the room where the pool chemicals were, and the dog got into them. But you know what? That was just her trying to grasp at straws as why the dog died. I really don't think. I never thought. I'm like, nah, man, come on. That room probably. I don't know how many times probably somebody left the door open back there, and that dog is not that stupid to go and like. There's nothing in there that is attractive to the dog.
Right.
I mean, there's just he's gonna want to all of a sudden volunteer like snort chlorine? No. So I don't know, but Mom was really upset. Said, I'm like, what are you talking about? The doctor never said it was anything like that. I took him to the vet. Said that Anyway. All right.
Okay.
Epstein.
Yeah. Let's.
Oh
start
yeah,
with
so
that.
much happier. The child rapist.
I talked about this last week when you weren't here, but obviously things have continued to develop. The bottom line is that, look, my default position coming in here, and I think a lot of people were at this spot when this, the latest round of Epstein stuff came up and the administration was like, oh, case closed, it's over, was just that a bunch of these conservative like MAGA yahoos who'd been making a big deal out of Epstein because they thought that his files contained all the damning information about all the liberals who were involved in the pedophile ring, and this would get Bill Clinton and this would get Bill Gates and all of these other people. And obviously it was something nefarious and blah, blah, blah. He didn't kill himself. Actually, when they got into power and looked at all the details, found out, okay, there's not the actual evidence to back any of that up, which, by the way, is not the same thing as saying it didn't happen. There may not, something may have happened, but there's not enough evidence to actually prove it. That those are not mutually incompatible. But that they got in there and wait, let me finish my thought. Like so this was my original hypothesis: is these guys got over their skis, they got into power, they looked into it, and they couldn't back up what they'd been riling their base up for years and years and years. But then Donald Trump started protesting and getting more and more upset. And there's nothing here. There's nothing to see. Go away. Look the other way. Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, there must be something then. Otherwise, why the hell are you doing
Why is he getting so agitated? Right.
Why are you getting so agitated? Because if it really was the first scenario, then okay, just, there are other ways to present this. Now, the diehards who are really 100% in on this conspiracy theory will never be convinced no matter what. But you could come out and just clearly state, hey, we thought there was all this stuff in there, but look, we've looked into it and we've looked at all the details, and the evidence of the things we thought there was evidence of just isn't there. Now, they'd still hate you. They still wouldn't believe you, but you'd have a clear story.
Let's be clear. Let's be clear about this. If there was this massive smoking gun against a whole bunch of Democrats, don't you think that they would have already been the pages of every paper in the U.S. would be full plastered with with all of this.
Well, this is one of the things that the base still to this day, who's upset about this, the conservatives who are like, no, you've got to release the files, are now thinking that Donald Trump and Bondi and all these folks are covering up for the Democrats still. Like they're not convinced that like Donald Trump had to do with any of this. No, they're like, why is Donald Trump protecting Bill Clinton? That's where the thought process is. Why is he defending the vast international pedophile conspiracy ring run by the liberals? Why is he flipped?
Well, let's be clear about this. Okay. This is, the number of people, when you're talking about take the electorate, just talking about the electorate, not the general pop. I mean, what percentage of those are pedophile, conspiracy, blah, blah, blah? Say 25%?
The conspiracy?
Of the total electorate, including Democrats.
Including Democrats. I'd say even less than 25 at that point.
Okay, so
I would say maybe it's even only 25% of Trump voters.
Okay, so that's where this is, right? Okay, where it's you've got it's a small but very loud and it's not small. It's a significant portion of his base that's very active and very loud. Yes. And they have been the guys that have been carrying the torch for him. Okay, most of the time. That's the reality. And so now all of a sudden you've got these guys who expected something, right? And the guy who was supposed to give it to them is now just, no, we're not releasing this.
Well, and the thing is, the more he protests about it, the more it just seems like,
the more guilty he looks.
The more guilty he looks. And it's like, I've seen people post, I forget if it was Josh Marshall or somebody else who was like, I thought this was just them getting all over their skis, but the more Donald Trump thinks about this, or more Donald Trump talks about this, the only natural conclusion is actually Donald Trump ran the pedophile ring and framed Epstein. Because otherwise, why is he doing all this? And and there was this big hype about this Wall Street Journal release as well, where Donald Trump apparently contributed this cryptic little note for a 50th birthday book for Epstein. And Donald Trump has now sued them over publishing this. He and his team were apparently exerting a huge amount of pressure on the Wall Street Journal to not publish this at all. They did anyway. And as far as I can tell, look, this is just another, okay, Trump and Epstein were good friends. Trump and Epstein were both wink, wink, nod, nod, and obviously liked younger girls.
Dude, yeah, like very much so, huh?
But there's not the thing wasn't a smoking gun. It's nothing you could use in court to prove anything.
It's not a smoking gun, but come on, Sam. I mean, that note, holy shit, that note.
Well, it's all cryptic crap, though. It's like, oh, we share secrets. Okay?
Yeah, what the fuck were the secrets that we've known about this guy the entire fucking time now?
Well, yeah,
we realize that he did with everybody.
But again, the thing is, this is all
there's all these videos of Trump oodling teenagers talking about stooping his daughter. He goes and repeatedly says it about Epstein, and then he puts it down on a note. Listen, it may not. Listen, this is not maybe court evidence, but fuck, man, it's man.
This is all stuff that with all the context, you could infer what he probably meant. But you can't prove a damn thing.
I can't prove it without to convict. But I can prove it to show how morally bankrupt Donald Trump. Well, we didn't know it, but just further evidence of how morally bankrupt this asshole was.
Yes, this is what I was saying. It's we all knew this already. But here's the thing. We did not all know this already. there are a couple of crucial differences here to point out. Like, you and I and people who've been paying attention and have been into politics and who have been paying attention to the right sources have known all of this crap since 2015, at least, probably earlier, right? But for people who are embedded in the right-wing ecosystem, a lot of them have never heard this crap about Donald Trump.
Right.
They've heard things about Epstein, but everything they've heard about Epstein has been about liberals.
And Sam, can we listen? But forgetting about this. Okay, we are skipping over.
Yes.
The most important thing: the video, Sam. The fucking video, Sam. The video that they released that is very clearly doctored, which was supposed to be, hey, look. We've released this video to show what happened at Epstein's cell. And motherfucker, Sam, the video they shared is doctored.
And missing 3 minutes.
Right?
Yes.
Holy fucking hell! I mean, the one that should have been the clean sweep. No problem. Hey, here's the raw footage. Here you go. Knock yourself out.
Well,
here it is.
This
No,
is
they share Sam. These guys shared a video missing 3 minutes. Do you remember what happened with the Nixon tapes with the missing minutes?
Yes.
Yeah, were those missing minutes like, bullshit? Dude, what the fuck?
We to this day don't know for sure what was on those missing minutes. It was a mistake, Yvonne.
It was an innocent
Watergate
mistake.
too.
Right.
No, look, here's the thing, though. With this group of clowns, you can't eliminate that it was a dumb mistake. But look, the other thing.
But holy hell, Sam!
I know.
Listen,
I know.
You want to create a firestorm of more doubt, okay, over something. And it's by fucking releasing doctored video of the Epstein cell.
Okay.
Damn it.
Yeah, yes.
I mean, I am one that up until that moment was 100. I felt, look, 100% convinced he committed suicide. I have no doubts.
Yeah.
But fuck, Sam. Now, I mean, they actually made me, who never even believed in that, doubt it!
I still think it's highly likely that he did commit suicide, but you're right. None of this does anything but add more doubt because of how everybody's acting around it.
Exactly.
So, let me get back to my point though, because you took me off in a different direction in the middle. One was that people in the conservative, in the conservative ecosystem, never heard the connection between Trump and Epstein before. They just heard bad things about Epstein, not that Trump was best friends with him for 15 years and was on a bunch of these lists and went to the island and was joking about the young girls and blah, blah, blah. But also, just on the history of what Epstein did himself, another important thing to remind folks about is the youngest voters in 2024 were 10 years old back in 2015.
Fuck.
They weren't paying attention.
Probably not.
And so we should not take for granted at all that, everybody knows all this stuff about Epstein. Everything knows about how Trump was related to Epstein. Everybody knows about the Access Hollywood tape or any of the other Donald Trump stuff because tons of people are locked in this conservative ecosystem that doesn't give time to these issues, and B, a lot of voters were not paying attention 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago.
Fuck, they haven't
Some
been
of them
paying
because they
attention
were too
now.
young. Some of them just because they weren't. But this is something I've heard a number of journalists talk about. There's in terms of how they're covering this story, it's still being covered by, like, here's the new stuff that was released this week. There's not a lot of, hey, everybody, let's review. here's all the stuff we already knew 10 years ago, and here's all the details of this. But the reality is, even the people who were paying attention 10 years ago, a lot of them have forgotten.
Yeah.
You know? And so you gotta bring people back up to speed with the whole thing. Now, and in the end, like, I don't know, like, again, like, my general thought process on all of this was going back to, that girl who was suing Donald Trump and, decided to back out of it like days before the 2016 election, was, of course, Donald Trump is probably guilty of all this shit.
Yes!
Of course he is. But we can't prove it. And, it's, the longer time goes on, the less chance we'll ever be able to prove it. Now, if you believe women to begin with, I mean, my God, like, there's like 27, 28 women who've credibly accused Donald Trump of various kinds of sexual assault over the years. And obviously people didn't care. But again, like, a lot of people didn't know, despite the fact that, like, it was out there in the zeitgeist. But this time the difference is that Donald Trump's own people, because they feel betrayed by this, are pushing for more information. And Donald Trump is apparently scared of the more information.
Right.
So maybe there is stuff above and beyond, like the conservative response to the stuff in the single page of this book that Donald Trump apparently wrote has been, oh, this is clearly fake. This is not him. This is nothing, blah, blah, blah. But the way Donald Trump has been reacting, it can't just be about this single page. There's got to be more.
No,
right?
there's got to be more. There's got to be more.
And
well,
like,
hey, listen, when there are, as you said before today on the Slack, we have apparently an extra 1,000 witnesses now that we can depose on, on what the hell is on those documents. Or at least
so let's
maybe
talk
they
about
can
the
leak.
1,000 witnesses, because this was new news in the last 24 hours that's also important here. Apparently, Pam Bondi, and you can be sure she didn't do this of her own volition, like Donald Trump must have asked about this, assigned, the reports say, 1,000 FBI agents to be pulling 24-hour shifts to go through 100,000 pages of Epstein-related evidence to specifically look for and mark and call out any possible reference to Donald Trump. And there's no reporting on exactly how much was found, but apparently someone was worried enough about it to initiate this very significant effort to go through everything and try to find all the Trump references.
You know how nutty this is? There are...
And by the way, we've
there
known
are
for years.
1,000... I don't know if it... Listen, whether it's agents or employees, okay?
Yes.
The FBI has 30-some-odd thousand employees only, okay? So to pull 1,000 of them... I mean, Sam, do you understand? I mean, to pull 1,000 employees into a single task?
Yes.
What kind of, like, crazy batshit authoritarian bullshit this is?
Yes. And like 24-hour shifts and stuff.
Right.
Which can't be the best way to do this either.
No!
Like, people get tired,
This is like insane authoritarian bullshit.
And
I mean, this is the only people that do this are insanely scared.
Well, and here's the thing. Like, I would not be surprised if the answer to what these 1,000 people found was a lot of stuff that could be embarrassing, but again, nothing that could be used in a court of law. It's
what
just
the
like,
fuck do we know, Sam? Look,
we don't know. But
Jeff didn't go to trial. Okay, he died.
Yeah.
Ghislaine pleaded out, so that wasn't a trial either. Okay, so if anything in there,
I keep coming back to, if there really was like actionable evidence against Donald Trump or Bill
Sam,
Clinton or any other
here's the
famous
thing.
people, they would have done something with it.
There's a difference between actionable evidence.
Oh yes, this is the
Okay,
key.
man, this is the
This
thing
is the
because
key
the
difference.
meets a just because it doesn't meet the threshold of a conviction
Right.
doesn't mean it's really, really damning.
Oh, right. I mean, I agree with you absolutely. There's lots of stuff.
Especially when one of the big problems that you've got with this case is that Epstein is dead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because all you've got is this, and you don't have a witness to corroborate a lot of it. Okay? Which, by the way, goes back to why the hell all of a sudden, we're asking about, well, why the hell is he dead, right? And why would he be dead? Not because he wanted to. It's because a lot of that is worthless without him corroborating it.
Well, this is one of the things we don't know for sure, right? There may be other witnesses too. There may be documentation. One of the things they apparently got was all kinds of video evidence, So, and I speculated last week, the problem on some of these might be yeah, there's a video, but you can't really tell for sure who it is in the video, right?
Right.
Things like that. Because it's low quality surveillance video or something, But and this is one of those key differences. They have asked, apparently they've asked a judge just in the last 24 hours to release the grand jury testimony. Now, the grand jury testimony is different than the whole thing of all the evidence, and they're going to redact it anyway. And you can be sure they would not just redact the victims' names and identifying information, but the proper way to do redaction on this stuff is to also redact the names of people that are incriminated, but that there are no charges against for the reasons we're talking about. This is, this is really damning evidence, but not enough that you could get a conviction.
Exactly.
So the right thing to do from a Justice Department and a judicial point of view is you don't go Comey and Hillary Clinton aside. This is not, you don't release that information in that way. So if you get stuff released, there's going to be a lot of, and person A did this, or person A saw this, because you've got not only the victims who don't want to be don't want to be identified, don't want to be dragged through the mud again. You've got witnesses who apparently part of the problems with these prosecutions all these years was you had tons of witnesses who feared for their physical safety if they said stuff. And so you don't want you don't want to dox those people either. And then of course you've got potential perpetrators that you have information about, but not enough to prove it. And you're not going to release those names either. But those names are what everybody really wants. They want those. They want to know, this guy's incriminated, even if we can't prove it. It damn well looks bad for them. And that's what everybody's really after, whether it's Trump or any of the liberals. And we're probably not going to get that. Although I have seen, in a lot of the redacted documents that came out over the course of the other investigations to Donald Trump, people were able to figure out who most of the person A, person B, person C really were. They were able to figure that out just by putting together clues. So I don't know, but Donald sure seems scared.
He seems
that's
petrified.
The bottom line on this.
I mean, and Donald doesn't seem well.
Okay, let's pivot to that. So first of all,
Donald doesn't seem well.
Before we get to physical, I want to say that we've talked a long time about Donald Trump's mental deterioration over time, but it does seem to be getting a lot worse.
Horrible.
He's less and less coherent. He's, talking about, we were talking about Powell, the Fed chair. He was slamming the appointment, not remembering that it was him, apparently. Right. We've got all kinds of other things where he's clearly doesn't really know what's going on. And look, that's been true for years and years, but it seems to be getting worse rapidly. Um, and you know, people seem reluctant to like, at least the sort of mainstream major media outlets aren't really talking about that. I mean, they go off on Biden, and as far as I can tell, Trump is worse than Biden ever was
Way worse.
in terms of sort of mental health and age
And physical.
affecting his abilities. And now let's talk physical. So the latest thing is people have been noticing bruising, people have been noticing swollen ankles, and they released an official White House doctor report saying, what was it? Insufficient venous something.
Yeah.
You know,
Venous
and basically saying,
insufficiency.
look, 20% of people in their 70s end up getting this. This is, you know, it happens. And I have seen a lot of people speculating, okay, it's clearly not just that, but, and so like specifically, I've seen like on TikTok recently, tons and tons of nurses that work in cardiac wards and stuff like that saying like, look, there's more going on than that. They may not want to say it right now, but you've got a lot of stuff going on that looks like congestive heart failure. And then, though, I have seen a bunch of doctors, including, by the way, our very own Ed on our Curmudgeon's Corner Slack, saying, given all the information they have released on this, it does look like something that they've done all the tests for the things that could be serious causes
Chronic
of this.
venous insufficiency is what the letter said. Exactly.
Yes. And like it very well, this is common, and this doesn't have a high mortality rate, and it's manageable. And so like people shouldn't get over their skis. And I've seen a lot of doctors also say that. But I think part of the reason why people are jumping to other things is no one freaking trusts the White House doctor to be actually giving the full story.
Yeah.
You know? So
look, the White House doctor, doesn't matter who's been in power. Okay.
Yes.
Has never been fully forthcoming about the health of any of our presidents. Okay.
Yes. Republican or Democrat.
Or Democrat. Okay?
And we've got all kinds of historical examples of this going back 100+ years.
Yes. So, you know, look, it's not, you know, it's part of the job. But given that, you know, even before he was president, unlike Joe or some other presidents that have provided a hell of a lot more detail into their health, okay? I mean, Trump, when he first ran for president, all we got was that letter from Dr. Bornstein, whatever his name is, talking about that he was the best physical specimen ever. And that's basically all we have really gotten about his health. We've never really gotten anything else. He probably, at least in like recent times, you know, has been the one from where we have gotten the least amount of any detailed information about his health. I mean, just starting from his weight, Sam, for God's sakes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everything on the report, you look at it and you're like, man, this is just a fucking like just pack of lies straight out.
Because of course he's an incredibly muscular athlete.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's so nuts. So
and so look, like the speculation, the reason that the doctor had to put out a statement was because people were openly speculating about his health due to his visual appearance being
listen, dude, that swollen, his ankles swollen were really, really, really swollen. That was not just a tad. Holy shit, you know. I mean, that it was so bad that these guys have always like deflected everything and just not said anything. The fact that they actually had the doctor put out a note tells you how self-conscious they are about how bad it is.
And by the way, like one of the things they said is the patches and bruises on his arm were due to excessive handshaking. Now, first of all,
bullshit.
Like they did mention that, look, it's very common in older people to bruise very
That's
easily.
true. That's true.
And it's very true. Like I've
got that happening with
have
my father
relatives.
now all of a sudden. Yeah.
Yeah, my father as well. Very easily bruises. It is common in older people to have that situation. But a number of people pointed out, given the location and given what it looked like, it's also consistent with he's recently had IVs,
Yeah.
for something or other. Now, that's not proof.
Which,
It could be the handshakes.
by the way, which the IVs could explain why he was so swollen. Because that happens. Okay? When you've had to receive a mass amount of IVs to get that kind of swelling like he had down in his ankles.
I don't know. I'm not going to do medical speculation.
It's
other than
something I've seen.
other people's medical speculation. But like, so the question is like, okay, he's deteriorating mentally. He's deteriorating physically.
Not fast enough, Sam.
And he's spiraling due to this Epstein stuff that he's obviously scared.
I'm hoping he has a stroke or a heart attack soon.
That's so
I have
nice
never
of you,
really,
Mr. Bo.
I have never really wished this upon anybody except this motherfucker. I really wish this guy ill health, and I hope I don't ever wish somebody else ill health again in my life.
Well, and the question is, does all of these trends, like, look, every time we've had things before that we think this is finally the turning point on XYZ, he bounces back and is back to normal a few weeks later.
Look,
whether it's health or scandal or whatever, but so far this feels a little bit different because on the scandal wise, for the very first time, it's his own base that's more upset than anybody else. It's not just, the Democrats like making noise. It's his own base that's upset about the scandal. And the health stuff just seems more pronounced than it has been in previous episodes.
Well, recently I was looking at this and I was reading an article that it talks about how we apparently don't age like slowly and gracefully. Okay? We age in bursts.
Right.
Okay? And and there is a burst that is just about as in one of the articles I was reading that happens in the late 70s. Okay? It's just one of those things.
Well,
and so if
and
he's
also
having
these things can be triggered either by an incident, like you have a fall and all of a sudden you get worse, or by stress.
Yeah.
So, maybe the Epstein stuff is stressing him out and causing all of these other physical and mental things to deteriorate faster as well. Who knows?
Well, he wanted to be president again. Of course.
Well, he really just wanted to avoid jail. But
fuck. Yeah.
Which he did.
Which he did. Motherfucker.
So...
Okay.
The only question I have about this, assume he doesn't just drop dead of his illnesses or whatever, and he just continues to deteriorate. Are his supporters going to pretend that this isn't happening for the next 3 years?
They're probably going to say that it's a clone or something like that. I don't know. Some stupid thing. Who knows?
I mean, like, and there is a thing too, like, I mean, we sort of acknowledged that Joe Biden was getting older, but we said, look, but his staff around him can handle everything. And he's still making the important decisions and, et cetera. And I feel like the difference to me is that I think Joe Biden is starting at a point where even on his worst days, he was better than Trump on his best days.
Correct. He was coherent. He had an overarching strategy. They knew what the fuck they were, there was a strategy. And one of the things about being a great executive okay, which I think Joe Biden was, okay, is that you have this strategy and you don't need to be, you have the right team to whom it is delegated to execute. You don't have to do this day to day. But you're so consistent on it and you've already set it out and you're not changing your mind every 2 seconds. You have them set in the direction. Your team knows where the fuck they're pushing, where they're going. Okay? With Trump, man, one day, oh, we're doing no farmers, no hotel employees or restaurant employees, immigration raid. 3 days later, yes, arrest them all, bring them all, whatever, whatever. Oh, today, no tariffs on these guys. Oh, yes, tariffs tomorrow. Oh, no, this. I mean, every day.
Absolutely, you're 100% right. But add on top of that, because for this second term, his only criteria for who to staff
is
his
loyalty.
Administration is loyalty. You've also got a bunch of incompetence anyway.
Yes.
So, if Donald Trump falls apart, everything else falls apart too. Which, in some cases may be good because it stops them from doing the evil things they were going to do.
Correct.
But, now there are a couple of exceptions of people who are evil and know what they're doing too.
Yeah.
I'd put maybe, Miller might be in this category.
Probably, maybe. Like Hackseth is an idiot, right? I mean, he probably, if no Trump is there, he'll probably spend the rest of his, the rest of his time over there, I don't know, doing YouTube videos and posting on Instagram.
Right, and then, but another one, which if something happens to Trump is important, J.D. Vance. I think he's actually competent. I think he wants to do a lot of horrible things, but he's actually competent, unlike Donald Trump. So if we end up with a Vance administration,
thing is, he's a grifter, and so whatever.
He is a grifter. He is absolutely a grifter.
You know what? He is going to go.
He has the positions
with the flow.
He has because he calculated those would get him ahead.
Exactly. He is going to go with the flow.
Yes.
So, who the hell, if a whole bunch of business people come to him and say, hey, fuck this immigration thing, you're killing our business, what the fuck are you doing?
Oh, I think if Vance became president tomorrow, all this tariff shit would be gone the next day.
Oh, the next day! The tariffs are gone the next day!
Right.
I don't, yes. The only guy that wants tariffs that I can see in that administration are Nutlick and Navarro. Ron Vera. That's it. Yeah. Everybody else is fuck these tariffs. Get rid of them.
Yeah. Now, Vance may double down on the immigration stuff, though. Who knows? Or he may change his mind entirely because he'd be like, oh, actually, my wife's an immigrant. Everything's cool.
Or the farm workers, the thing. And I'm like, yeah, we don't want to fuck the farms.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you wind up with one of these guys who's more pro-business. They're going to be like, well, what are we doing? We're killing all these.
Well, here's another difference. If Vance becomes president, he's going to want to be president again.
Right.
And so he's going to want to do popular things.
Exactly. And that immigration shit is very unpopular.
Right. Whereas this time around, Donald Trump isn't caring one tiny bit. He doesn't give a shit. He just wants to plow ahead. Can I tell you
something? I have the strange feeling also that other than Donald Trump liking him and using him because as his evil, stormtrooper, Steve Miller, I have a feeling that nobody else really likes him because that's been his whole life where nobody has really liked him anyway.
Steve Miller.
Yeah, Steve Miller. So he's probably a guy that if J.D. Vance gets in there, I'm like, fuck this guy. I mean, I don't care. Maybe I agree with 50% of the shit he's doing. I can't stand him. Get rid of this asshole.
Mm-hmm.
You can go watch Elon Musk fuck his wife.
Well, apparently they've broken up too now.
Who?
Miller's wife.
Left
no longer with Elon.
Oh.
She took off all the SpaceX stuff off her social media, and changed, and a few other things. So apparently,
I feel so bad for her. What a shame.
I think the important question is just, was she impregnated first?
Right.
Yeah.
That's the question.
How many children can she deliver for Elon?
Correct.
Because, that's what matters, apparently. Are we done?
Yeah, we're done.
Okay. Everybody, curmudgeons-corner.com. You can find all our stuff. You can find our archives. You can find transcripts. You can find all the ways to contact us. You can find a link to our Patreon so you can give us money at various levels. We will mention you on the show. We will ring a bell. We will send you a postcard. We will send you a mug. All of that fun stuff. I still owe postcards and mugs. I know. I am awful. On the Patreon at $2 a month or more, or if you just ask, we will invite you to the Curmudgeon's Corner Slack, where Yvonne and I and a bunch of other folks are chatting and sharing links throughout the week. We would love to have more of you join us, so please contribute or ask, and let's get you invited to Curmudgeon's Corner Slack. So, Yvonne, what is a highlight from the Curmudgeon's Corner Slack that you would like to talk about that we have not otherwise mentioned so far on this show?
Oh, God, I'm trying to figure out which one.
Oh, come on. Let's do the
all
one
right,
obvious
all right, the one obvious one. Okay, so we shared this. It's been all over the place. Here, who shared it? I think it was Bob shared it first.
I've been watching it for a while before Bob shared it, but he was the one who brought it to the Slack.
So there was a CEO and his HRVP that were in a Coldplay concert. They were, I guess, in an embrace.
So
Would you say that,
apparently
right?
they're
and there was a camera that was panning around.
Well, no,
it's
more than that. Let me describe it, because they should have known better in a number of ways. Apparently, it is a routine part of the Coldplay concert series that they're on, that at a certain point in the show, they find a couple in the audience, they put the camera on them, and then he does an impromptu song about the couple. Okay?
Okay.
So that is what normally happens. So the camera found these two, and she was in front of him, he was hugging her, she was hugging him, they were in an embrace. And the camera goes to them, and they're looking all happy. And then they look up at the Jumbotron or whatever and realize that they are on it.
Right.
And he immediately just drops to the ground out of frame. And then first, their eyes go wide when they realize what's happening. Then he drops to the ground, and then she sort of turns around and hides her face.
Yes.
And then the Coldplay main singer, I forget his name, Chris something maybe. I don't know Coldplay, but he says,
I don't either. So
he says, oh, what's going on here? These two, they're either having an affair or they're just very shy. and she's just hiding. He's gone. Who the hell knows where he's gone to? And of course, because they reacted this way, this instantly went viral. Videos were being shared.
What I said is that if they probably just played it cool, nobody would have,
even if they were coworkers that probably shouldn't have been hugging each other in public on camera.
Nobody would have seen this anyway.
Yeah, and I've seen a couple skits done on TikTok and such of people showing how you could have played it off in a variety of different ways. Even if they started off in that hugging position, they could have immediately done a little skit, or there's a number of different ways they could have reacted that at the very least would not have attracted attention of the crowd and the people videoing it right at that moment, and quite possibly even could have convinced their spouses that it was innocent, depending on what they did. Okay. But as it was, because they acted so incredibly guilty, instantly this was being everywhere. He made the comment about they must be having an affair. And within a few hours, they were both identified because he was a CEO of the company and she was the
VP
chief
of
people
HR.
officer, the head of HR for the same company. A third person in the video was misidentified as another HR employee. Apparently, she was not. They identified her as some specific HR employee who had just been
This thing has
promoted.
been a meme
Apparently it was
factory, though. The one thing about this, it's gone so viral because of the way they reacted. It's been like a meme factory. It's just so
Yes.
crazy. I mean, there's been just so many of them. There was one that was like Coldplay went and tweeted, I don't know, tweeted or Blue Sky or whatever. Starting with our next show, we're introducing a camera-free audience sections for people and their side pieces. There's a picture of like Epstein hugging Ghislaine Maxwell with a caption, telling my kids this was taken at a Coldplay concert. There's one
I've
that's
seen another version of this with Donald and Epstein together. Like,
there's been that one. There's one that it's a play on the movie Airplane where they go, "Hey, Jim never does this at home." It says Jim never listens to Coldplay at home, which that was on the Airplane movie. That was like a comedy. There was like shit. Listen, ESPN Sports Center had two of their anchors hugging like that, and they panned to them, and they're all of a sudden freaking out and doing the thing. The Philadelphia Fanatic was hugging another Philadelphia Fanatic and did that during the Kiss Cam tonight at the fucking game. I mean, it's just this thing. It's like just been so damn viral, okay? It's like crazy. And all they had to do probably was just keep doing the song, whatever, ignore it, and that's it. Nope. They created themselves a massive, mega viral
just immediately
sensation.
moved from the hug to like waving at the camera or something.
And their board is investigating them right now.
Oh, they have both been put on leave. They are being investigated. They are clearly not going to be continuing in what they were doing before.
Who knows? I don't. I'm not going to say that, but
the wife of the CEO immediately changed her name on social media to her maiden name, asked for privacy, and eventually privated the account.
The other thing
I
that
haven't heard
shared
about her husband yet. Her husband, they were both married, so, and look again, like if they hadn't looked so guilty, coworkers being, having a fun moment at the game, but they instantly looked guilty. So it's like, of course you're going to read into it. Like, if somebody says, "Oh, there's nothing going on, they were just hugging at the game," nobody's going to believe them, because if they were innocent, they wouldn't have reacted that way.
Exactly. Okay. The other one that I don't want to be remiss is one where Sam shared a fucking TikTok of what year does someone have to be born in order to be considered old. These fucking teenagers all kept saying like 2001, 2002. I'm like, okay, let me be clear. Go fuck yourselves. All of you.
Hey, a couple of them got
95.
into the late 90s.
Yeah, they got into the 90s. I think I heard one go all the way to 90. Basically saying that
most of them were, in fact, after the year 2000.
And they said that apparently when you turn 25, you're never doing anything anymore. You're just like getting ready to be old or die or something. I'm just like, give me a fucking break. Divorce insurance should exist because women grow and nurture babies while pushing their careers only to see their husband on the Jumbotron at a Coldplay concert.
Financially at least,
I don't think anybody's going to be hurt.
Just fine.
Yeah, she's going to do great. She's going to be fine. Not going to be a problem.
Yeah.
All right, we're done. There we go.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Don't get sick like Yvonne. And have a safe week. Don't do anything crazy. And we'll be back. What's the phrase? Unless the creeks rise. Okay, that's bad because there were bad floods last week. I shouldn't.
Yeah, no.
There were bad floods in Texas that we didn't talk about. But we will be back unless something massively unexpected happens. So tune in next week. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Okay, here we go. It's time for the stop button. Very excited. Very exciting. Have a nice night, Yvonne.
Good night.
Good night.
All right, let's see.